Hey guys, it's Love from Come Fly with Love and Sky Pirates Productions. Thanks for joining me on my podcast, Under the Influencer, where I get to speak to folks from all around the aviation industry who are influencing the world in some kind of way. We talk about their story and struggles in hopes that you can navigate through social media and build your professional and or personal brand. Today, we are sitting with influencer Faraz, who is Flight Copilot on Instagram, EasyJet Airbus captain of 12 years. Today, this relentless pilot talks about how he started his Instagram page to market his products and services. We talk about his struggles along the way, and he gives us advice on how to be organized. Thanks for joining us. Let's talk to Faraz. All right, Faraz, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I've not done many of these before, so when I saw your invitation, I was like, should I do this? And I thought, okay, why not? And
Yes.
and I saw your page. It's an amazing page. You had a good reach. I saw your interview with Captain Chris as well, at least some of it when I could, and that was fantastic. And just immediately after that is when we started talking. So yay, nice to be here.
Great. Thank you. The pleasure is ours. So Farad, who is Flight Copilot on Instagram, and it's also, I guess, on online, you have a flightcopilot.com page as
That's
well.
right, yeah.
All these, I guess, your reaches and your contact information will be in the caption. But Farad, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So yeah, well, currently in Switzerland, which is not so bad, but I was I've had kind of a mixed, lifestyle growing up. Born in London, grew up in East Africa, in Kenya, going on safaris every 2 weeks with my father, and then a certain event in life occurred, and we moved back to London. Always wanted to be a pilot. I got the bug of aviation at the age of 6, like many of our viewers and people out there, the av geeks out there. So, from the age of 6, no one believes you because you change careers every other week, which is true. 2 weeks later, I must have said, I want to join the military because I watched maybe a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. I'm like, that's so cool, but kind of, this one stuck. And in those days they had analog cockpits, and boarding a 747 jumbo jet, which was at the time already a milestone in aviation, and I think it kind of still remains so. It was a unique kind of feeling, and boarding the aircraft from the first door on the at the front, and watching the flight deck with the pilots doing their job. No idea what they were up to, but they look busy anyway. So do I sometimes, like, oh nah, passengers boarding, let's look busy. But it's since then I remember telling my father at a younger age that Dad, I want to be a pilot when I grow up. And of course he always was a hero in sarcasm. So like, yeah, you're useless, you'll never make it as a pilot, and you got to work harder in school. I said, yeah. But yeah, so he was also my inspiration, like everyone, you have your fathers and mothers, you look upon your parents as a role model. And then unfortunately in 98, my father got killed in a terrorist bombing in Nairobi. He worked for the US Embassy, in fact, for 25 years of his life. So that was a kind of life-changing event, and things were, we will not dwell on that. Time heals and we get stronger in life. But then, yeah, we moved to England to start a complete, turn over a new leaf. And from there on, that was my drive, that I have to become a pilot, because my last conversation with the old man was like, hey, if you make it as a pilot, I'll personally shake your hand. I thought, now I gotta do it, because, it's going to be, I'll always look back, or I'll live my life with regret. So yeah, there've been several obstacles, like for anyone in any other career. But, I think if we overcome those obstacles, and if we fall, if we use these things in our life to kind of, push back up and learn something from it. And I think over the years, I'm sure you would agree as well, people who can take negative criticism or obstacles in a positive manner can only learn from it, And it's been like that. And now, years later, I'm sitting in Switzerland. I operate the Airbus from the left-hand seat. And really, time to time, when you're at 39,000 feet cruising, and you see a young guy who's like, yeah, I'm so happy that I just graduated and I got a job straight away. It kind of takes you back, and you're like, yeah, wow, some journey for sure. But I'm happy where I am, and hard work has paid off. So could be worse. Huh?
Amazing. So when did you start flying, or did you start taking lessons?
Well, my first lesson came literally back when I was still in Africa. That's my aunt, I remember, gifted me a couple of flying lessons on a Cessna. So at the time, it was like, wow, am I really getting into a real aircraft? And that was at the age of 12, 13, 14, which was just a few lessons. And then we moved to England. And from in England, I tried to take up a few flying lessons at the local flying club. But as everyone knows, it's an expensive game. So initially I thought, okay, many pilots I was networking with at the time. One of them was a British Airways captain who became really good friends with me. And in fact, he was, living quite close by. So I visited him a few times. He became my new mentor at the time. And the idea was, okay, instead of spending money doing a flying lesson, doing one flying lesson every month, or doing in this irregularity kind of form, he said to me, just concentrate on school, get your university, college, whatever it is, out of the way. And he suggested to me that I go to a proper flying academy and start from zero and just go all the way to the full ATPL. You save time, you save money, you save energy. And that's what I did at the end. I graduated from university in 2007, and then went straight for flying. I went to the south of Spain, which was quite nice. So it was work hard, play hard, like it should be, no matter where you are. Doesn't matter where in life you are. But we were a bunch of the academy was big. We had more than 100 plus trainees. Nice weather, nice atmosphere, and we all graduated after a year and a half, which was really, when you look at some people who are doing it in the modular route, um, of course it depends on you how you do it, but a lot of my friends were spending 3 or 4 years to graduate, and we just went 18 months and it was all done. And then came the other hard part of kind of looking for the job, but
Right.
But yeah, the flight training part was in the south of Spain. All went really well. And then once you graduate, you're just released into the wild. You're like, yeah, there you go.
Bye. Have
And
fun.
that's it. Like every institute or career, you
Sure.
graduate and you celebrate your graduation, and then comes the next Monday morning. Like, now what?
Now what?
So yeah,
Exactly.
that's a whole new level on its own.
So you are with a major airline now, one of Europe's most major airlines, right?
Yes, it's the largest low cost airline
Oh, the largest. Okay.
operating the Airbus. We have Ryanair is another competitor in Europe that flies the Boeing, and as for me, I'm with EasyJet, which is in Europe, which is which operates Airbuses.
What's your seniority?
Now I'm a captain.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
but I've been working with EasyJet for 11 years or so now.
Oh, amazing.
Reaching 12 years.
You look like a baby.
Uh-huh. It's because I put foundation today.
Foundation.
No.
We say it's the airplane air, the filtration system.
They say the radiation isn't good for you, but hey.
Hey.
Yeah. No.
So let's talk about your Instagram account, which is why you're here. You have quite a following. Can you tell us when you started? Tell us a little bit about your account.
Well, it's been going on for a while. I don't remember when I started it, but I must say a couple of years plus. And it started as it didn't start as something that I would think would reach here today. And it started for something. At the time, I was a senior first officer in the airline. I'd started building pilot applications for training purposes through Apple and Android platforms. I wasn't developing. I tried learning developing, but it's like learning a language if you're not good at it, So, but I did manage to learn development, computer developing for a year, and then I hired a couple of people who helped me out build products. So I started building applications, and it all started from there, really, because then, as we said, I was trying to promote the applications, and I realized in today's world, without having a Facebook page or an Instagram page, you're really not going to take advantage of the full potential of marketing. So it started as an apps marketing page, just to say, okay, yeah, I've got an Instagram page for Flight Copilot, and I built a website at the time, again, just concentrating on apps. And then from apps, over the last 1.5 years, it's just gone. The website grew further and further, writing blogs and adding stuff, and there was this option of doing YouTube videos, but then that was, if you're not fully dedicated in doing that, then you really, you shouldn't go that direction. Maybe in the future, but again, it was like, I'm already working full time as a pilot. I said, okay, I don't really have that much time to deal with all the social platforms. However, Instagram was something easier. Facebook and Instagram, easy to run from your mobile phone in your pocket.
Mhm.
So I think because of the improvement in technology, and having this kind of access to technology and these platforms, it was really like, okay, let's see if we can grow the Instagram page, and see what happens. And it went from app developer, product pilot slash, to pilot, to posting about stuff that just motivates people in life. Towards the end, I was trying different things, and I realized, shall we work on this? So yeah, it went from this kind of apps slash pilot Instagram page to seeing what works best. And at the end, I realized motivating future pilots, offering educational posts, a bit about pilot lifestyle, a mix of these things was working really well. And over the last 1 year, that's what I've really done. Initially, without having a goal, a particular goal or mindset to, this is what I want to achieve from Instagram. Just to, okay, listen, we're getting viewers and we're getting a following, so let's keep doing what's working, and see where it goes. So I think, to be honest, it's still in the early days, despite having this number of followers, but we've seen people reach a whole new milestone with these kind of platforms.
Right. Well, that's awesome. So you provided so much content right there in itself. So you started out as you started Flight Copilot as a marketing tool for your apps. Okay.
That's right.
When I
Yes.
glance, you have a few apps,
Yeah. Yeah.
more than a few.
Not too bad for now. Not too bad for now. But yeah.
Do you see yourself shifting maybe or allocating a lot of your downtime now into creating more apps?
Yes and no, but before I was dedicating 200% of my days off doing app development, and now I'm more of trying to use social media to teach and writing blogs. So maybe I'm gonna earn less revenue giving away. A blog is free.
Mhm.
If it's not a subscriber based kind of content on your website. So if I write about something, or I post something that teaches about something, in the flight deck, for example, I'll often post a picture of the thrust levers or some buttons, and for me, it's an everyday thing. And I think that's where I've kind of differentiated that. Hang on, don't post stuff that I find interesting, because maybe I don't find this interesting because I do it every day in my life. So sometimes you could post a simple thing of the wing of an airplane from a window seat, and you've seen people post, oh, hashtag wing view, like, oh, boring. If you're a frequent flyer or a businessman who's always sitting on a window seat, you're less likely to hit like on something. I do this every week. But you've got to sometimes really become smaller in life and picture, hang on, the world is a huge place.
Mhm.
And so sometimes I have to really, before posting something, break it down. Would me, the 14-year-old me, who's interested in aviation, who wants to be a pilot, whose dream is to work in aviation, or whether it's aeronautics or fly jets, would I find this amazing? And that's what makes me really sometimes come up with posts that are like, yeah, this, I would want to know, how does a jet engine work? It's magic. I think it's still magic to me, But if you put yourself in other people's shoes, or in your audience's point of view, you really then can experiment with contents that work. Sometimes, of course, you post something that doesn't work as much. I'll have questions coming in from people saying, oh, you're asking too many easy questions. And then I have to reply and tell people that, yeah, it's, when you have, say, 25,000 or 50,000 followers, you can't cater for all 50 with one post. Someone might like the beach and someone might like the city. So it's there are days where I'll post something that goes with one part of the audience, and then there are days you have to post something that okay, they wanted something difficult, I'll give them something more difficult. But
Right.
and that's, I think, the challenge for me as well, with social media. So we're all still learning, and so I have to even visit pages like your page to see what are people doing, and I think that's
Sure.
another way to learn as an influencer, is to view other people's content who are successful, to see what are they doing different, how do they post their stories, how do they balance between one post and another post.
I love that. Yeah, it's all about growth when it comes to social media because a lot of the things that you may have learned, you know, a year ago,
Yeah,
2 years ago,
yeah,
may be obsolete. Like, for instance, the shift of the whole TikTok wave has now come
yeah,
on Instagram, which are the reels now, which is
yeah,
very, very, very important to have. First, it used to be important to have one, like just one photo, but then they
yeah,
allowed carousels. It's better to have
yeah,
carousels. Oh, it's better to have a video. Now it's better to have reels. So it's just ever changing. And the beautiful thing, and also, maybe also hard is that shift forces you to develop your game, right, and to
yeah,
ever
yeah,
change and ever evolve,
absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
So yeah, I can certainly relate when it comes to a lot of the challenges that you may have, which we all have,
Yeah,
I love what you said when you said that the account is not for us, right, the
yeah,
account is for them. The account
yeah,
is to inform, to provide, service or products, to share with those who aren't in aviation, that fantasy of becoming, a pilot or flight attendant or just anything in aviation,
yeah,
especially those who don't have access to that education or that opportunity,
yeah,
so I love what you're doing. You are doing a lot on page, but for somebody like me, it's very, very, very informational. For those of you guys that just chimed in, he is Flight Copilot, FlightCopilot, on Instagram. That's pretty fast, right?
that
On
was good.
Instagram, and he's got really, really, really great content. Exactly as he said, some to motivate you, some that are just normal day to day views for us in the aviation world. You also give insight. I love your some of your content when it comes to the buttons. I love buttons and I love numbers. I love to push buttons.
Yeah, yeah. But
um,
for aviators, the flight deck has always been, and even for me, when I board a flight going on holiday, and it's not a plane that I fly. The last time, when I, especially if it comes to something completely different. So if I fly the Airbus and I board a Boeing Dreamliner, I'm always like, wow, that's different. Whoa, what's that? Even I don't know that. And sometimes, unless you're in the flight deck and you get time to really analyze. So within one industry we have, or within one specific thing, we have so many different possibilities and different kind of differences amongst it. So it's kind of it's nice that no matter what we do in terms of Instagram or Facebook or what kind of page we run, I think we're always learning new things, which is the beauty. So like we said, I will do something to cater for my followers, but I'll follow people for me to learn something from them. So I'm a follower of someone else, and he might
sure.
be following me, which is great, because if we go back 20 years ago, this kind of technology didn't exist, and we are so lucky. If I have a friend or someone in the family saying, "Oh, I'm trying to learn how to do this, but I don't know where to start," and I'm like, really? I mean, why not start with YouTube? You
Right.
know?
YouTube.
Um,
I mean, my brother, the oil of his car through YouTube, I think.
yeah. No,
You can
I
learn a lot.
diagnosed recently what was wrong with my motorbike using YouTube, because I ride the bike, but when things go wrong, I'm not a mechanic on a motorbike. So I'm like,
Right.
oops, what went wrong? And I was again on YouTube, like, this kind of a sound, it's doing this, it's doing that, this warning light, and suddenly all the information was right there. with Google and YouTube open on two tabs, you've really got an
Sure.
encyclopedia next to you, you know?
Yeah, that's another thing with social media. It's so informative,
Yeah.
so educational. Okay, so let's continue on with your content because I love obviously that's why this gentleman, folks, has a lot of followers, a great deal of followers who are loyal to him, and just really, 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 and I see that a lot of them share your content as well. Um,
Yeah.
and so the when it comes to content, a lot of this is marketing, yes, but how do you decide what to post? How do you get organized with that?
It's, well, a lot of hours behind the scene, as you very well know.
Sure.
So yeah, sometimes I'll create posts and save them. So I think it's always good to have, kind of a database of your work. So I create, when I'm at work or when I'm in an aviation kind of environment, I'll take a lot of pictures, even stuff I don't know if I'll ever use it, because there was a time during university I studied filmmaking from home, and I was so
There's
into
secret,
photography and
guys.
filmmaking. So I was really interested in how is cinema, how does cinema do it, and and in those days we didn't have this technology either. You had these camcorders, and how do I get depth of field? So something simple. Now your iPhone does it, which is incredible if you look back. So one thing I learned from the filmmaking days was when you're a content producer or you run a page like a Facebook or Instagram page, when you do get the opportunity to take pictures or videos or snaps, I think don't limit yourself, because I'll just take a million photos when I can,
Hmm.
even if later on half of them go in the bin. At least better to have the material than not have it at all, because then you're stuck. So then, yeah, the post comes from, okay, I'll balance it between, should I do something of a quiz format for people to get engaged with? Should we boost the engagement a little bit? Should we post something that teaches people something? Should I balance it between the two? Yes, they learn something out of it through other people's comments. And if I can achieve sometimes that, where I post something that engages people, but those who don't know the answer learn it from the other people and not from me, I create this kind of a triangular kind of, a circle that just completes itself. And that works really well for me, because often people are like, hang on, I don't understand this. And I say, actually, see the comments. The people have answered this for you, which is great because it engages them with each other. And I think, as we said, now with the Instagram and TikTok and Reels being something new, it's nice to create stuff that even if I wasn't using it before, I realized, okay, hang on, you could use this in a way. And depending on what kind of a page you're running, for me, Reels works well with something. The shorter the better. They give you 15 to 30 seconds. But I realize if I use the full 30 seconds, for instance, people tend to get bored very quickly. And we've seen the motion of Instagram and TikTok always next, next, next.
Sure.
Nope, nope. And sometimes people won't even read what you've written, because maybe you had to read to understand what's in the content.
Sure. Yeah, there's a
And
whole
people,
science. Yeah, there's a whole science behind it.
yeah. So
Um,
your image, I think, is that first. The picture itself is 80 or 90% of your viewers interaction, or your viewers like, for instance. I think if the image doesn't catch it, nobody's going to read anything you've written. Nobody cares about the comments, and they move on.
Ooh,
So
that's a
you've got
great
this,
tip. That's a
yeah,
great tip.
you've got this split second to impress someone, and 90% of it is coming, I think, from the photograph that you're about to post, or the edit that you're about to post.
Sure,
So,
sure.
and yeah, I'm still learning myself. Sometimes I think something works, and I post it, and then I say, hang on, that's not even working. I got it all wrong. But like we said, now I can either use it, but I'm not going to sit in the corner and go, oh, I worked so hard on that photo, and people didn't even like it. No, I'm learning also, because if I take that kind of a reaction of the audience in a positive manner, then I go back into a post of, why didn't this post work? I was so confident this was going to be an amazing post. And then when I dig deeper, sometimes I get an answer, and sometimes we just don't have an answer. And we've got to do trial and error, which is another way of trying things. We're always learning. If we don't try, we don't know.
All right, so Farad, you talked about how you have a full-time job as a pilot. You know, you are busy creating content. This really is a full-time job.
It is.
How much do you allocate toward your apps and the of the apps, or are they already created and then you're just marketing it?
Yeah, I mean, before I was dedicating a lot of time on the apps, but it was hardly anything on Instagram, so it was kind of a balance there. And now the apps are already in the Apple Store or in the Google Play Store. I don't have much to do with the apps, but time to time we have to come back and kind of update them or kind of maintain them if something changes with an upgrade regarding, for example, Apple upgrades their updates their system. So if I have a glitch or some problem with an app, then yeah, I get back with my developers. So I'll have to take a break from Instagram for a day or two. And but again, it's still manageable for me, because if we're working on the apps, if I take a whole day off, sometimes we take an entire day as not much, but it's a lot of time, unless you wake up at 12 noon. But if you've got a kind of a disciplined agenda for your day off, and you wake up at 7 a.m. and you do a good breakfast, and you start your day fresh, you have plenty of time between waking up and the day ending, where I can squeeze in, okay, I'm going to dedicate the morning to deal with the app problem, and to relaunch an update for it, and I've got an afternoon on Instagram. But again, I don't think it takes that much time, because if you as we come back to your previous question, if you're organized, I don't have to go on Instagram and go, oh, what should I post today, what should I write about today? If I've got already so many things saved as a draft image under my posts, then I'm just like, I'm actually picking from what should I post, because I've organized this from my previous Instagram days. You can call it the Instagram office day or whatever.
Right.
But so often I have at least 10 posts on my phone for emergency. So if I'm very busy, I still have a choice of 10 options or 20 options on my phone, where I can just go like, right, this will be good, this will be good. No, and it's all set with the comment, with the hashtags. Everything is ready. I just have to, submit it. That's it.
Great. That's awesome. And it's true. You have to be organized. With people who are busy with full-time jobs, it's so important on Instagram to have that strategy set, to have that organization when it comes to what to post. So let's talk about you monetizing. So this was always intended to be a marketing um, a marketing platform for you. How your metrics to see how many people have shifted from your actual Instagram page onto your apps, as well as those who have shifted from Instagram onto your website to purchase what you have, your merchandise and your products and your services?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I won't say it doesn't do anything. It does a lot. So the more following you have on either one of the social platforms, I think it's a free marketing tool for you. Well, not necessarily free, because you've worked your time on it, your time and energy, but you're not paying a third party company to advertise your products for you at a cost. So if you can build kind of a page like this, for example, for me, building the Instagram page means, if I write a new blog, I know the website is a little monetized sometimes with, say, Google ads. So
Mhm.
if I spend my time writing something that's useful to some aviator or some app geek out there, so my time in terms of payment, I'm not expecting a direct payment from viewers, because first of all, that's going to be impossible, and secondly, people there's a lot of free content out there. You can't start charging for just anything. So what I do is I balance that out between, okay, I'll have ads on the blog page. I don't want my website either also at the same time to be, just filled with
Filled with
ads.
ads,
It doesn't
right?
look good. So there are pages on my website that are completely ad free, which are for professional use, and then there'll be things like a free question bank for student pilots, or the blog pages where I will throw in some ads, because that's like, okay, I worked on this, I spent time on this, and if you're going to read it, you still get to read all the info and everything, and you're not forced to click or view the ads.
Sure.
They don't disturb a viewer in any way. So for me, things like those are a nice balance between me and the viewer, or you can say the customer. And That's one way of monetizing is ads, but I'm sure you know very well as well, it's not as easy as people, someone without the tech knowledge will think like, oh wait, you have a website and you have ads and people come on it and you make money, oh my god. It's not as easy as that.
Yeah, it's
Especially
not.
sometimes you'll have a successful blog and you'll say, oh, I made $1, you know
Mm-hmm.
so it's
True.
not big money, but it's the trickle of traffic that counts. And like for me, it's at the moment it's something that maybe plays a bigger part in the future. And I
And
think that's also
do you follow those the metrics? Do you follow
a
how
little
many
bit.
people, or
Yeah, a
do you
little
just
bit, but
glance at it?
right now it's not so useful for me because it's not a very it's not a completely significant kind of traffic enough to on the
Sure.
blogs, for example, for me to sit down or hire a professional who knows about these things,
Sure.
or for me to go studying it more. But yeah, where it's going, it's maybe something else. And for me, it's the same I did with apps. If I created my first app and it made $30 that month, it wasn't meant, this is useless, I'm not going to do it, and get demotivated by it, because it means, hang on, if this one small simple product can generate that, why not work on something bigger, or better? And when it starts to, I think there's a point of 0 to a certain figure where it's like the giving up zone, where people would just get demotivated. No, this is not worth the time or the effort or the finances. And then there's the point where things suddenly take shift, and you might be generating something, a decent amount of money from it, or a profit from your products. And I think where my Instagram account is going, it's again right now it's just building it, just growing it, and see what happens. And it's not just based on followers or teaching or motivating, but later on it can be kind of a great platform for me to, for example, sell a book on aviation, or help other aviators maybe market their products.
Sure,
Um,
great. And so you're in Switzerland, and Switzerland is known for watches. So you have on your website, you're doing marketing for your watches. Can you tell us how you got into that?
it's again something I love, watches. So I think you should always do stuff in life, or embark on journeys that you love to begin with. I'll be a terrible cook because I like eating, but I don't like cooking. So if I embarked on, I'm going to become my new hobby is to learn cooking. Sure, it could work, but if I'm not motivated in the first place, it's not going to work. So I've always loved watches, and especially it's one of those things I think not many people have these days, in terms of that machine on their wrist, because electronic watches and these iWatches, I have nothing against them. Especially, I mean, if you do fitness, then it's useful. You've got these new gadgets you
Sure.
can wear on your wrist. They just don't tell you the time, but they tell you your footsteps, and great. But in terms of the classic aviator, for me, it's a machine, or a work of art that I wear on my wrist. So I've always been into different models, and since I moved to Switzerland, of course, they were all available to even window shop, even if you couldn't afford all of them. So it was great for me to walk into a shop and just try on an Audemars or something, and it was really, are you going to buy this, sir? Yeah, I'll come back tomorrow. But eventually I did buy a couple of nice watches, and I was getting a nice collection going, and just out of the blue one day, with a couple of other pilots, someone said, wouldn't it be so cool if we made your own watch? And I was like, that's not a bad idea. And you know say, okay, how do we do this? I'm not a watchmaker, but I love watches, so I don't mind doing something that I will go in this direction. And then yeah, got in touch with a lot of companies abroad, and believe it or not, it took almost this is the fourth watch which is the final, and yes, finally it's got there. But the first automatic was beautiful, but movement not as reliable.
Mm,
After out of 20 watches that I gave out for free as a test, 5 broke down, and I was like, no, I can't expect that. If one breaks down out of 20 for a very good reason, you dropped it from the roof, great. Of
sure.
course, even a Rolex will break.
Right.
But there was a problem with the movement, so I said, I can't in the future sell this to people, because at the same time I can't, it's not just about how it looks, it has to also perform and be as reliable. And then we said, okay, maybe automatic is a leap too far. Maybe we'll go with the battery powered quartz. It's
Uh-huh.
easier. So then I got in touch with another company. We built a couple of templates. Beautiful watch again, but quartz. Second and third were both quartz, and it became kind of, yeah, it will be a reliable watch because it's battery powered. But there was always this amongst colleagues and at work in the flight deck. One of the pilots was very interested with me in the watch. Is like, Faraz, it's beautiful watch, but it's quartz. And we'd be like, yeah, it would be nice if it was an automatic. And I said, right, you know what? Let me see what we can do about it, and we'll do one more shot. And if it doesn't work, that's it. And then
So
we
you shifted
really,
back.
again, I've got like 4 watches all with Flight Copilot on them. And it's like, so I keep them because it's like, at least I've got a prototype of the journey. So it's really nice because then finally I did this, but then COVID happened in 2020, and of course the whole world was kind of surprised and not expecting this. So I was really delayed with everything, and but then I took it easy. I said, okay, I'm not in a rush. I'm not planning on selling hundreds of watches tomorrow. It's something that I want to embark on slowly, but in the right way, in the right form, because even if it takes me 5 years building this product, I don't mind, because I want it to be, I don't expect success in 6 months. I expect maybe 5 years down the line, it will be a watch not well known, but at least fairly well known to aviators or people through my page at least.
Right.
And so yeah, it's finally, it's finally
They're beautiful
there. And
watches. Thanks
huh?
for sharing. Thanks for sharing that, because for those out there, the personal touch with how you have tried and done a lot of work trying to perfect this watch. It's not just a watch that looks
No,
pretty,
no. It's, and I think,
so
and I think anyone can do anything out there. If you have, we always say to amongst friends, and I always tell my brother this in London: if you want to do something in life, what's stopping you? And
sure.
you have one life. The worst you can do is live with regret. So it's something that I think is more dangerous. If you do something or you attempt at doing something and then you fail and then you give up, you won't have that same kind of regret than not doing it in the first place.
Correct.
So even if this doesn't work, I did it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. I love that mentality. I live by that mentality.
it's good.
Um, if you have closing up, if you have one advice that you would like to give to those who are somewhat afraid of being on social media for one reason or the other, maybe not being technologically savvy, or just maybe afraid of a lot of the thing for security purposes, or for whatever reason. And also those who want to use social media to build their personal and professional brand, what advice would you give them, or what pieces of advice would you give them?
Well, I think it's social media we've seen in the news, it's got its kind of cons when it comes to privacy, and don't share your life with the rest of the world. And I think that's a personal choice as well, because you could have social media at the same time, but you're in control of your page. You're in control of what you want to see. Sure, maybe you might see an ad, but that's the it's not the end of the world for me. So if I scroll through a particular page, or I'm on Instagram and I see something that I don't like, I don't mind. I'm not going to get involved with that post. I'm not going to start reading about that post. I'm not going to visit that page. So and it takes a couple of seconds to ignore it and move ahead. It's the same kind of on YouTube now. These companies have to make their money with the marketing, which makes sense. And they're offering us a service. In return, they have their advertisement platform. And on the other hand, for me, it's I think a very useful tool for people to use if you use it with the right balance and in the right way. How much, if I go back 4 years, would I have learned as much as I have, and would I have been able to run my page and get a following with an audience and people I can communicate and share ideas with without any social platforms? The answer is no. If I was just back in the old school marketing via emails and letters, I wouldn't be able to do this. And so for me, I'm a person who's very grateful that I have these kind of platforms available to me, and how easy it is to use them. Sure, as we said, for the young generation, it's become second to none. But for the older generation, It doesn't take long. I have my mother who was really never even seen a phone in her life before, and in the beginning we gave her an iPhone. She was like, what is it? And a week later she was like sharing YouTube videos with us, you know so it doesn't take long to learn about it or learn how to use it. And if you use it in the right way, you can really have endless resources for everything that you like, whether it's educational, whether it's your hobby, whether it's and again, if you're an entrepreneur or business, or you can then really really take advantage of it, because you've got the world a click away, which I think
Right.
it's incredible. It's just so powerful. I can't imagine my local newspaper reaching a global audience 15, 20 years ago. And you and I could make something today that could go viral tomorrow. and
Correct.
and just the thought of this, it's like, wow, you know
Wow.
it's impressive.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show. We hope to talk to you soon. Good luck with all your endeavors.
No, thank you.
We can't wait to have you on all our other podcasts. And until next time.
Thank you very much, love, and all the best to you. And anyways, we'll be in touch, and I wish you the very best as well. And it's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thank you.